Oh, Stefania.
Hello, Zanetta. How are you?
I haven't seen you in a week.
I know it's been a whole week. Can you believe that?
I know.
Time's flown. It just seems like
Yeah.
yesterday we were here chatting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So happy, fun, fresh Friday.
Yes, happy
Welcome,
fun Fresh
welcome.
Fridays to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And, oops, sorry.
We had a
Notification.
good week, Zanetta.
It's been busy.
It's been
Busy.
busy.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
I mean, nonstop busy for
I
me.
think I think everybody's busy. January's gone.
Mm.
Hello, February.
Right. February already. It's crazy. Just crazy. Yeah.
We have a hot topic to talk about today.
Yeah. So let's talk.
Let's
Let's
do
talk
that.
about let's talk about communication, the words that we choose. So
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
what do we do?
Where do we start?
Where do we start? So I'm gonna have to read it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read it. So yeah, so it's what's the title? No. What
Think.
impact
Yeah, yeah.
do words have on communication? I mean, of course, you need words to communicate, right?
Mhm.
Or you like what we have, the what do you call it? The nonverbal communications. We have the American Sign Language. There's different sign language, not the American Sign Language, but there's different ways to communicate. But all of us still use words. They still translate into words, even though some of them are not spoken. Mm, yeah, just like what you just did.
Raising the eyebrows, turning the eyes, like doing the eye roll,
Right.
body language. Oh, this thing that the Caribbeans do a lot. I remember when I lived in the Caribbean, they'd like do this real pouting and this. It sounds
Oh,
like a kiss, but it's not. It's like a real peeved off, you know,
oh, just like the
sound.
Japanese. The Japanese, they have,
Really?
yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah, they have that. That means no. That means they can't do it. Whatever you're asking for. Once they do that, nope.
You're done. Yeah. I didn't know that about Japanese. There
Yeah.
you go. Yes, so we have the verbal and the non-verbal.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about the verbal. That's where we're going to go. We're going to talk about the verbal because I watched your podcast.
Did you?
Yes, yes, I did, and
Okay.
it was really it was really captivating as to how you presented yourself. My comment about the host, so we'll keep that to ourselves. But the you had some choice words. You were very careful as to what you were choosing, the words that you were choosing. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So in seeing that, and also actually I had this topic in mind already because of the way you know that I'm an investigator, and when I do the interviews, they try to articulate to me what happens. And so what my job is to put it into words that can be concise and precise, and um so one of them was That's one of them said, and the tone of the email. I said, I didn't know email has a tone. He was like,
Mm.
oh, that's right. I said, so what can you say about that email without putting tone? Well, it was what he said. So email again is not verbal. So I'm trying to coach this individual, not coach, but trying to get him to, see, so that he can articulate a little bit better, so that he can. So he finally said, "Well, it was the words." I
Mm.
said, "Go with that." Yeah, it was the choice of words. There you go. So there are some things that we say, and the choice of words that we couple in together that can either make the individual be captivated by you or turned off by you. So the individual who was interviewing you was captivated by you. As you go along with the interview, you can see it. I mean, I was seeing it. I was like, oh, there's another brick going down. There's another brick going down. Didn't you feel that? Didn't you feel that as you went through the more you talked and the more you explained things, it got easier
Yeah, I guess
with
it
the podcaster?
did. Mm.
You didn't see that. You didn't notice it.
Well, I think I did notice it. I did feel it, because I'm more into feeling.
Hmm.
However, I believe he was just giving me more space, more time to just keep talking, and I think I just took advantage of that. I just kept going,
Hmm.
um, because obviously he liked what I was saying, or he was in agreement with what I was saying. Because
Hmm.
I'm sure if he wasn't in agreement with what I was saying, he would have cut me off, no doubt.
Hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Mm.
So, how do you avoid people cutting you off?
How do I avoid people cutting me off? Well, I guess you can't avoid people cutting you off, but you can certainly, um, your comeback, or how to, get back into the conversation is what's important,
Hmm.
and how you, I guess, take control. Because I have had that happen where people have kind of cut me off, and I kind of just swingle back in and say, "Hang on a moment, I actually wasn't finished with what I just one more point I would like to go over or say," and then veer the conversation back into where I was going. So I I believe I do it in a professional and quite eloquent way,
Hmm.
because I don't like cutting people off. Sometimes people do cut you off without realizing that they are, or some people do it because they do want to cut you off. So again, you can tell which of the one, you know, they are, which angle they're coming in from by, I guess, the tonality, the sharpness, the words they're using, and everything like that. Yes.
Hmm. Mm. So, there must be an art, or there must be a way to communicate in order to make an impact.
Mhm.
So it has to be intentional.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely intentional.
So have you heard the it's a quote in the Bible. Um, Death and life is in the power of the tongue.
Yes, I have heard that.
But there's a caveat to that. I mean, it just doesn't stop there. A lot of people stop. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Um, but then it says, and they that love it eat the fruit or eat the results. So, does it mean this? No. It means language. What language? The power of language is in, you have the power of the language to either give it life or give it death. So, whichever one, and you love it, you're going to eat the fruit or the results of that. So, there's a way to communicate or a way to use words that you can get through the most difficult person ever.
Mm.
Yes. And how do you do that? So you've pegged the person who's difficult. They cut you off. They dot, 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 dot. So now they're telling you who they are, what limitations they have. And when you start to see all of that, then you speak to whatever their insecurities are. Because you can see it. You can tell a person who's very confident, they don't need to say much.
Mhm.
But when they open their mouth, it's holy moly. And the best one I've ever come across with is Steve Jobs.
Mm. How he controlled or how
How
he
he communicates.
headed. Mm.
Yeah. He's a very techie guy. He's a very intellectual guy. But if you listen to him talk, he uses words that everyone knows. He doesn't use techie terminology. You never hear him say gigabyte. He'll say you can have 1,000 songs in your pocket. Everybody understands that, and everybody can like what? I can have over 1,000 songs in this little thing, and it's going to be in my pocket, and I
Mm.
can listen to it wherever I go. Wow. So a person that doesn't understand 124 gigabytes or 124 whatever, they don't understand that. They just know that this is in my pocket and it can do dot, 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 dot.
Mm.
Steve Jobs is a genius when it comes to communication. He makes everybody understand.
Because he speaks in metaphors.
Yes, he does. He uses a lot of metaphors. He uses a lot of, y- you know, um, you know, for the average person, if you just give them data, this is what I do, what I do, what I do, what I do. Okay.
It doesn't stick. It doesn't
Mm-mm.
stick in the brain. Exactly. Whereas when you use a metaphor or you story tell or
Hmm.
you're connecting with them, like you said, with everyday normal language, everyday events, or you're painting a picture, like
Right.
I don't know how many songs you said, but 125 songs in your pocket or 1,028 songs in your pocket.
Thousand, yeah.
You can actually, because that's how the brain operates in picture form.
Right.
You are picturing your playlist, an endless playlist of 1,000 songs in your pocket or as accessible as pushing a few buttons.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
He even said our buttons are so I can't remember what other word he said. He said you would love to lick it. Are so cool. He said our buttons are so cool. You would love to lick it. Like what?
there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So listening to Steve Jobs has really changed my way of speech, my way of talking. I mean, I can't help some of them. You know, uh, he uses a lot of analogies, but I can't help some of them because it's now become habit. So now I'm trying to unlearn the habits of lexicon words like intricate. When I said something to Kazaya, and one of them was, the thing is very intricate, and so she was like,
What? What's that mean?
but if I say, oh, that has a lot of zigzag, it's a lot of zigzag. You'll have to do a lot of zigzag. And so she understood it when I started saying zigzag, because now she understood that she has to do that, kind of do. So the language that we use, or the words that we use, if we want to make an impact, if we want to, for someone to say, you know what, sold, I'm going to buy your product. I'm going to buy, because now they're seeing you, they're hearing you. The product must be phenomenal. Yeah, and that's what Steve Jobs, I listened to a lot of hours of his talk. I was like, dang,
Wow.
dang.
Interesting, hey?
He didn't use not one college level word. Can you believe? I
Well,
was like,
I've
dang.
heard too where, a lot people say, "Keep it simple. Keep it very
Hmm.
simple in
Hmm.
language where people can understand like that." But
Yeah.
going back to the storytelling or the metaphors or the painting the picture
Analogy. Mhm.
analogy is what I think is key. It's
It is.
the secret sauce, isn't it?
It is. It is. Because you speak a language of understanding. So, and that's where you start to connect with the individual. You know, when when you give there's one where he's where he said, just imagine this. Let's say this little town here in Murfreesboro. There's what 2,200, 22,000 people here in this little sect that we live in. He said, can you imagine this little town here and taking all of Europe, condense it without removing the people, condense it to the point where it fits. That's what this is. So you're like, over millions of people in Europe that can fit. So when you see that and when you hear that, oh, dang, I don't need to be techie. I don't need to know how it works. I just need to know, oh, that's how it works. Oh, cool.
Easy. Exactly.
Easy. Yeah.
Again, forming pictures, analogies.
Yes.
I used to say that actually, when I come to think of it now, I used to do the same thing when people say, "Well, how big is Australia?" Like, people couldn't fathom when I was living in Italy, the
Mm.
size of Australia, and I'd say, "Well, the size of Italy? Imagine Italy fitting in Australia 27 times." And they go, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, that's how big Australia is." Because you can't go, "Oh, it's so many thousand square meters."
It's the largest continent. No, yeah, yeah. So when you get to you you enter in an arena where you don't need education, you don't need data, don't need it. You don't need any of those things, because those statistics, they bore people.
Mhm.
They do. They bore people. bore them to death. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm I'm a I love knowledge. So I would be able to, sit there and just sop it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many gig? Oh wow, what? How much? What? I'm like that, but not everybody is like that.
The majority of
So
people are not like that.
yeah, so you have to find a avenue as to where to speak so that everyone can be captured. Yeah, everyone. So you want to test it out? Talk like a 5-year old.
Yeah, I guess so. So that sort of takes away the theory of particularly the lecturers, the professors, the lecturing style of teaching,
Hmm.
learning is outdated, would you say?
It is. It is outdated. Well, if you take a look at today's society, if you take a look at, you have 20-year-olds that are multimillionaires. 20. You already know that they don't have a degree. So the the traditional learning in class, traditional, oh, you must have a degree, or you must have this, or you must have that. Oh, your vocabulary needs to be of a collegiate in order for you to be successful. Not today. Not today. Not in today's time. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a different story.
Interesting, hey? So, however, you still have that traditional mentality still
It's still
floating.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have those that are wanting to make it, big, make it successful, of course. And then you want those that want to have a good communication skills. And then you have those that are trying to level up their vocabulary. I believe the best way to do it is to use your words wisely. That's all it is. Communication is about penetrating here, the heart, not here, here. So if
Mhm.
you use words that penetrates the heart, and if you use the tone, because there's a certain tone that is that sweet spot that people listen to. There are certain tones that are used to get your attention quickly, knowing that there's a warning, knowing that there's something going on. So there's that tone. And they use it. They use it for the police cars. That's the tone. Ambulance,
Mm.
fire trucks, the smoke alarm. All of it has the pitch of a baby crying. It's the same pitch.
Mm.
Why? Because it's internal in us. As parents, it gets our attention. It's the pitch. Now they can add certain things on there like the sirens and things like and the chirping of the alarm, the smoke alarm, but it's the same pitch. So we have pitch, we have tone, we have cadence in how we talk. So especially with body language as well. So if you're talking like this straightforward and just talking, talking, talking without any kind of movement or any kind of tilting of
Just
the head, yeah. So it becomes, yeah, these are nonverbal. This one tells you that I trust you. why this is exposed.
Mm.
So if I don't trust you, everything is closed off. So
Mm.
you can tell a person who is, because that's the body protecting the vital organs. Yeah. So if you want to capture people, if you want to capture the audience, if you want to have someone say, you know what, show. Oh, I trust you.
Show a bit of man.
There's that jugular right there. Yeah, it's the words we use. Kind words, words of affirmation. Like, you know, we do it for ourselves, and we should do it for other people too. You know, like when oh, you look so beautiful. You're so beautiful. This one lady, she was having a bad day, and she said, "I am so sorry." I said, "Please don't be sorry. Take your time. I'm here." And I said it just like that, and she took a deep breath, and she said, "Thank you. You're welcome." I said, "Now, how can I help you?" So the words of, giving them permission, giving them this opportunity to express themselves is one of the ways to get across, to make that impact. When you make that, once you make that impact, once you penetrate whatever that wall that was built up, or that hesitation, or that doubt, once you penetrate that, because you know when they're doubting, you know when they're not listening to you, you know when they have a wall up, and that is your job, is to tear down that wall
Mm.
and penetrate.
Build that rapport, build trust,
Mhm.
like a no
Yes.
factor.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to everything in
Everything.
in all types of communication, whether it's at work, work environment,
Hmm.
public speaking, or presenting,
Spouse,
family, spouse, intimate relationships, even with your
children.
children. Exactly. And of course, that's something that is modeled to us. So if we've had that modeled to us, so if you're modeling that to your children from an early age, they have a better chance of being better communicators because they're only modeling back what it is that you're modeling to them. Yeah,
Right.
I definitely believe in that. Yeah. Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's a choice of words, really. It's choice of words. Words that build up. Instead of saying, "Well, I don't like that." How can you say that in a uplifting way? Is there another? Do you have another? So, so you're changing it. You're changing your words. You're changing. You don't like that. Do you have another one? Oh yeah, I have this. Does that one? So you're starting to ask questions, and now they're trying to figure out, oh, this is what she wants. Oh, you know what? I have something for you. This. That's it. So there's like, no, 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 I don't like that one. So now the person who's selling, or, they're like, well, dang,
Yeah.
you don't want none of them. Leave. I don't need. Yeah. So there's a different language or different words that we use to make it shift, have that shift. I had to deliver a bad news, um, and I had to think of a way how to say it. Not in a um, not in a way to where the person would feel like they failed.
Mm.
You have to think of a way how to deliver. How can you deliver bad news? how can you deliver it with the person and treating it, you know, see, there's my words, accepting it. There's a certain words that I just, it's a habit, accepting it in a way to where they will still be like, yeah, that's it's my fault. That takes art. That takes practice. That takes real intention and choice of words and, you know, um, looking at the other person and feeling where they're at. Yeah.
Mm, that puts a smile on my face because, yeah, I did experience a bit of that today, this week. However,
Mm.
what happens when you just get pushed over that edge and you then do a flip
Lash
because
out, blow
because
up.
blow up. Yeah, because that person's not listening because you're not speaking that person's language.
Right.
So sometimes I believe, and it actually worked in my favor in this experience that I had, that I was being very intentional and compassionate, tried to understand where this person was coming from, the hurt, the pain, the lashing out that was going on. Till then, this person then hit my, when they go
Push,
straight for the
pushed your
jugular,
button.
they go
Pushed your
straight for,
button.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that one button, that they know you just don't go there. But they know that that's the one that's going to fire you up. So I then did a flip. I did a flip and I said, you know what? This person's not understanding me. I need to speak this person's language. I need to speak this person's tonality.
Mm-hmm.
I need to meet this person as to where they are because that's the only way. Not that I wanted to control, but
Mm-hmm.
I needed this person to understand what was what I was going through and also setting boundaries that you just
Mm-hmm.
can't step over these boundaries. And yeah, I did it so instinctively. I did it so because the fight flight took over. I knew what happened, exactly
Mm-hmm.
what was going on because I then lost control.
Mm-hmm.
I won't lie,
Mm-hmm.
I lost control. However, it was then that this person just stopped and listened. And I wasn't spiteful.
Mm-hmm.
I just spoke in his tone, spoke his language, this person's language, and I set boundaries in a way that no, 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 no. And yeah, I went, oh my God. And what did I just say? What did I just do? Like you're then self-analyzing and
Mm-hmm.
breaking down what just happened, but I was okay with it. It still felt right, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to get it out of me, and as a result, yeah, things panned out. They actually um, worked out better for my highest good and for this person's highest good. So,
Good.
yeah, quite interesting
Yeah. And
how
it's the
sometimes
choice
we
of
have to.
words. It's the
Correct.
choice of words. So even when you blow up or when you flip or when you lose it, still be intentful or be aware or be conscious of what words to use because there's four-letter words that are not so good, and I'm not talking about love.
Mm,
You know, we tend to use those words come out to try to stab. When we want our, like what you were saying, this person wasn't speaking your language. They were speaking a total different language. In other words, their way of communicating was primitive. Okay, so primitive is rah rah rah, basically. And yours was more of the upper level. So what you had to do was that, oh, okay, so you're not understanding. You're not okay. Well, let me get primitive with you. So
Yeah,
that's what happened. Yeah, yeah.
that's what
So
happened.
that's what happened. You went primitive because the language, um, that uh, it was losing. It was, it was not how do you put it? It was.
We were
Oh,
not
let me just put it in a analogy. Your This person was speaking English, and this one was speaking Chinese.
correct.
You
Yes,
didn't
exactly.
understand.
We were speaking 2 different languages.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And that's the same for when, you hear about Gary Chapman with the 5 love languages, the
Hmm.
language of love, same thing. We're all speaking a different language of love. So when we're speaking these tonalities or these words or choice of words, we do have to listen to who that person that's speaking to us. Where are they at? What energy are they bringing?
Hmm.
So you have to match that energy. So then they will stop and listen to you. Because if you come in with another energy, that person is not going to listen to you. They
No.
might just put their defenses up. And before you've even said anything, they've cut you off.
Yeah. And a way to get through to someone who's not, your communication is off, is to start asking questions.
Mm,
That's the way to immediately let it align. Because when you ask questions, then the brain stops and tries to answer. Well, what are you doing? You know what I'm doing. Okay. And what are you doing now? So bring it back. So when you start asking questions, the questions are very, vital, because then it makes a person think. It makes a person think. Me, when I'm about to blow up, it's very rare that I blow up now. Very rare. Because I listen to the individual, let them talk. And if I'm not going to be productive, I don't answer. It's like, okay, I'm taking what you've said into consideration. Thank you for your feedback. Be done. Because if I say something,
I think that's also important to also know your own capabilities and your reaction and what I say damage you can do.
oh, I know me,
Right.
and
So
I
you
can
know yourself.
shred people
Yeah. Yeah, I think
to
that's also
pieces.
that's why in my case I knew what I was capable of doing. However, I'd been stopping myself from actually getting to that point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I then chose not to. I just said, "You know what? Just let me try a different language."
There you go. Understand this. But even if you're speaking the same language, it's the words. The
Yeah.
words needs to be, that of, not like what the proverb says, Proverb 18:21. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. So you can still, have that forcefulness, or that, matching whatever, tonality they're in, but still use the right words and still be able to make an impact.
Yes, making an impact. So, are we really intentional when we speak? Is the average
Majority of
person?
the time.
Hmm, no, that's right. I don't think so either. What is actually happening? Where are we at?
We're speaking in terms of where we're at. So whatever situation is going on, whatever is going on the inside, that's what we're that's how we're communicating. Uh, we want our own agenda. We want our own feelings to be, heard, or whatever pain we're in, we want other people to know it.
Mm,
So that's what it is. And also, uh, people respond. I mean, people communicate to respond, not to understand.
drop the mic. Pew! Repeat that again. That's gold. People communicate to respond, not to understand,
Hmm.
which goes back to it's all about me, me, me. Listen to me. This is what I want. I'm not
Hmm.
getting this. I'm
Right,
not getting that.
right.
And if we're all going around doing that with each
Ain't going
other,
nowhere. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And the competition is also there without it people even knowing it. There's a
Mhm.
competition.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
you,
what
you
kills any relationship, I think, when we're in competition
yeah,
most of the time.
yeah. Just like that one. It was like in competition. Well, I have this and I have that and I have a degree, and I have this and I have that. Well, what about this individual? They have a high school diploma, and this individual makes more of an impact and is known worldwide.
Mhm.
This is bravo. You have a degree. Good for you. Yes. What good is that going to do? What
Yep.
good what good is it that I show you all of my degrees over there and I cannot connect with you?
Mm.
We even complain about doctors who have bad bedside manners.
Mhm.
But yet they're brilliant. They have that degree, and they're the ones who's very knowledgeable, and they're the ones who's going to tell you how to get better. But we complain, I don't like that doctor. He doesn't have a good bedside manner. He's just rude.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or
So
not even.
connection is
Mm.
more important than that degree. The words used is more important, more valuable than the
And I
degree.
think too, words leave a lasting impression because when you use those words, you're actually people remember not what you said also, but how you made them feel. So when you're using those words and using that tonality, you're making people feel a certain way.
Yeah, yeah. Everything is, everything is in it. The tonality, the wording, how it's, the cadence, the pitch, all of that is within that language, with that communication, how to make an impact. choice of words, tonality, the pitch, the cadence, all of it.
All of it. All of it
All
is
of
so
it.
important. So how do we improve that, Zanetta? Now that we know that,
Practice, practice, practice.
and do you have
Yeah.
any tips
Listen
that
to
you
Steve Jobs. Listen to speeches. If you're a coach, if you have something to sell,
Mm,
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs is the man.
Yeah, he makes such an impact with such few words. And the reason why he makes such an impact with such few words, because he gives you a solution to a problem.
Mhm. Yes, a solution to the problem.
Yeah, because remember back in the day, before
Mm.
we had the iPhone, we had the iPod. Remember, and we had to download those music to the
On
iPod.
God, yes.
Yeah. So now he solved a problem. He solved a problem. He said, this is not just a phone, but this is the internet at your fingertips. This is 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Ta-da!
Yeah. So he solved a problem with just a few words. And people were like, "What?
This
Just
guy's
a few
mad.
words." Yeah, just a few words. So if you can capture the problem with an answer with just a few words, people will be like, "Wow, wow." Leave him speechless. And that's what Steve Jobs had always done. Left people speechless.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
he
he was
wasn't in competition with anyone.
no.
Yeah. He was like, okay, yeah, I expect them to do good. What in the world? Steve Jobs? Yeah.
He was something else, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Mhm. Well, this has been very
Hmm.
interesting conversation, and, definitely, I'm I'm more intentional with the words that I choose when I'm speaking. I have been working on it myself, if I can say so.
Yeah,
And it does make a difference.
it
But
does.
like everything, we need to exercise it. We need to practice it. We need to
Hmm.
build and build on it. Just like when we're in the gym, to build strength, build that muscle, you don't just jump on and start lifting 30 pounds
Hmm.
immediately.
Yeah,
We have to start with 5 pounds and then
right.
gradually work our way up. So it does make a big difference. Who do we have here?
Hmm. Yeah, George.
Hello, George.
Habib. Hmm. Yeah.
Good to see
So
you.
yeah, it's when you start to use the words and like what you said, you're more intentional with your words and how you communicate and how you convey or there see that's another word that I use that just rolls out my mouth that you can present convey present and that's what I'm doing too. I'm trying to learn how to use words that even a 5-year old can understand because if a 5-year old can understand then there will be no miscommunication. So the words that you're more intentional in saying then becomes easily understood. There's no, there's no, well, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? Kind of conversation. So with my daughter, that's what I'm doing. I'm being more and more aware of my choice of words, because earlier she said, "Mom, what does annihilation mean?" I said, "Where did you hear that?" She said, "It was in a song." I said, "What song are you listening to?" And then she said, "To the Bones" or something like that. I said, "Who sings that?" She said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, okay, well, what did it say in the song?" So she said, "Annihilation, you will know. You will soon know," or soon, something to that effect. And I was like,
Whoa.
I said, "Okay, so annihilation actually means without disregard, meaning nothing. You absolutely mean nothing." I said, "That's where the word annihilation came from." I said, "So when someone annihilates a country, that means they have no disregard for the people in the country, bombed them, killed them, total annihilation." So she said, "Oh." I said, "Yeah. So you have no disregard for rules. There's nothing. You don't follow anything. It's just what you want. And you want to get rid of everyone." She's like, "Well, that's not good."
There you go. Isn't
Now
that
she'll
interesting?
remember.
But see how they're using that in words? I mean, in
Hmm.
song? I mean, they've been
Yeah.
doing that for a long time, where we're listening to lyrics that we're just bopping away to, but really,
Don't understand. Yeah.
and
So
that's
it's
sinking into your subconscious.
mhm. Yeah. So now, before I was trying to teach her, you know, big words. But then I started thinking, well, no, I need to speak her language so that she can better understand me and stop looking at me like with, deers with the headlights.
Ah.
So what? So she can understand me. And she'll get those words in school or when she reads a book or when she hears a music. And then ask me, what does it mean? And then we will address it then. So yeah, just using words that people can relate to or understand.
Mhm. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So,
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Speak with in terms of metaphors, pictures, analogies, and speak so a 5-year-old can understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I said something at dinner one time, and I was being serious. But the way I said it was, I think I would have noticed, you know, somebody that doesn't have the same description, in a household, me not know about it, and
Mm.
everybody laughed. And I was like,
What's
no, I'm
going on?
serious. Yeah, I'm serious. I think I would have known somebody from the outside in the house that was there. I think I would have. if somebody was in your house that didn't belong to your family, doesn't look like you would notice them right away, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I said. And they just laughed, but they understood it. They understood because a question was posed, and I was like, I think I would have noticed.
Mm. Actually, I say that just as an analogy. Sometimes I say that to people with energy, like who you allow in your circle of energy, who you
Hmm.
allow in your life, who you allow. And I said, it's the same thing when someone knocks on your door and that man looks like a thief or a burglar. You're not going to invite him into your house.
Right.
You're not even going
Yeah.
to open the door because you're peeping through the peephole or through the cameras
Yes.
now. Cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are not
No.
gonna let him in.
Right.
Exactly. So, why would you let someone in your energy sphere around you? Why would you let them enter that energy, that
Right.
space
Yeah.
that you take in? So it's the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Same thing. Exactly.
Or the common one I used to use when I was at the gym training my
Hmm.
clients, and we used to talk about nutrition, and I'd say, "What kind of car do you drive?" "Oh, so and so." "What fuel does it take? Petrol or diesel?" And they'd say, "Petrol." I said, "Right. So you drive a car that takes petrol, right? So you wouldn't put diesel in it, would you?" "Oh, no." "Why wouldn't you put diesel in it?" "Because I'd blow up the motor." "That's right. 2 minutes down the road and your car would totally stop." So I say, "So why do you eat junk food? Why do you insist on eating pizza and McDonald's and all that other processed foods? What are you doing to your body?" It's the same thing. You look after your car, you won't put diesel in a car that runs in petrol, but yet you insist on eating the wrong foods.
Hmm.
And he was like, "Oh." They get it. They get it. So you don't do it to your car, but you're doing it to your body. Or I'd
Right.
say, another thing I'd say, I'll just be a little, sounds mean. You are what you eat. You know that. You are what you eat. So if you eat a lot of pizza and a lot of nasty food, think, "Ooh, have a pizza?" You end up looking like pizza. Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyway, that's that's exactly what I used to do, and it worked. It worked. People would listen to me.
Yeah.
So and I say when it comes to dating, I
Uh
still
huh.
use
Yeah.
analogies there.
Yeah. Because it works. It's so simple,
Mm.
but it's impactful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's impactful.
Yes,
One of
I like
the
it.
one of the questions would be, would you marry yourself?
Mhm.
It's like, number one, that's sick.
Mhm.
Number one, that's sick. Okay. Um, and I don't need to marry myself, but I understand your question. And the answer is yes.
I would. Some
Yes.
people wouldn't. Some people wouldn't. That
Yeah,
makes them
because I
different.
choose me. I choose me. Yeah, I
Mhm.
choose me. Yeah. So, so yeah, even in dating, gosh. So Jeff is the first white I've ever dated. Because I thought it was the other. And yeah. So it was like, Zanetta, you always have the same problem. You always have the same issue. So I was like, oh. Well, now I don't have that problem. Yeah.
No, and you don't have that
Mm-mm.
issue.
Don't have that issue. Yeah. So it was me putting that diesel.
In a car that runs on petrol.
Kept on putting diesel. Yeah. Kept on going to McDonald's.
So to speak. Yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. Wow, this has been great. We've been speaking for an hour.
Yeah.
Very impactful. Love the topic. So, whoever's listening out there, if anyone's out there watching, not saying anything, that's okay. You can feel free to comment, or if you're
They
watching
didn't
on the
want to. They didn't want to comment because of the choice of words they might be. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Just
you
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say sometimes what does happen is even, when you're intentional and you believe you're using the right choice of words, that can have an impact where people don't even respond.
Hmm.
Then you have
Oh.
silence.
Oh my. Let me see. Do you ever encounter clients in arranged marriages that aren't working out? Thoughts on those?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, most definitely. Um, you have any comment on that,
Yeah,
Stefania?
there's another there's okay, that's, that's George.
Vito. Hmm, that's George. Yeah.
That's George. Okay, so George says, "Do you ever encounter clients in arranged marriages that aren't working out?" Thoughts on those? Absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, what are my thoughts? Well, my thoughts really don't count, first of all, because we're dealing with a culture. This is you've got to be very respectful that this can be their culture. And breaking out of that culture is where it's difficult. And I've worked with people that are really trying hard to break out of that culture. And I had one gentleman, his culture was Indian. So this was an Indian culture. And he was living here in Australia, in Melbourne. And I did coaching for a while. And his parents had arranged a marriage for him in India. So after he was finishing his studies, he had to go back to India and marry the woman that his family had arranged for him, and
Hmm.
then whatever, bring her back to Australia, whatever he decided to do. But in the meantime, while he was in Australia, he met the love of his life.
Hmm.
He met the love of his life. And he was in a mess, a big hot mess, because in his culture, and I know within India, there's different tribes or different sectors of within their culture, religions, or whatever you want to call it. And if he didn't marry this woman, he would have been totally, you know,
Disowned.
disowned by the family, cut off.
Hmm.
No support, no this, no that. And yeah, so he made that decision. And of course, through the coaching I was giving him at the time, it was more hypnosis actually, because he had a lot of childhood trauma. So this was all just coming back up for him
Mm.
because the control factor, having to do what his family told him to, being that good Indian son. And the woman that he met was Indian, but she was from another sector of India,
Mm.
which obviously wasn't the same, maybe, on a financial,
Beliefs. Mm.
beliefs,
Okay. Hmm.
riches, um,
Oh, status
yeah,
and
status.
mm.
Exactly. So he ended up having the courage to go back to India and tell his family that he had met somebody. And then she was flying over, going back to see her family, and he had arranged that he was gonna meet because her family had accepted him, but it was his family not accepting her. So, yeah. Can it happen? Yes. A lot of
Mhm.
things can happen. How we deal with it, how we, ap approach it, the words, because that was very, something I remember was the words, the choice of words that I was actually coaching him through to use with his family and to be able to set boundaries. Um, End of story, he did end up marrying the love of his life. He did end up coming back to Australia to live. I guess it was a little bit easier because he was able to detach and not have to live in India. Uh, and the family situation, you know, it got really rocky, but at the end of the day, it hasn't he hasn't been cut off. He hasn't it wasn't as dramatic as what the threats were by his family. So, yeah, that's that's the some of the experiences I've had to deal with some of the clients that I've dealt with as far as, cultural relationships. And this was even within their own culture. So,
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be totally a different culture because within cultures, within particularly India, because it's so big.
Yeah.
So there you go. I hope that's helped you,
Yeah.
Lord.
It's the same in the Philippines. The status.
Mm.
You have to marry within the status, or you have to marry, above, the status. So, yeah, it's the same thing. I I ran away, so I didn't have to deal with it, and I joined the military.
Yeah. So you experienced it yourself too, didn't you?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and it's it used to work back in the day, um, with families and cultures, but now that the world is more accessible now. It's more accessible. So the traditions are being a little bit not watered down, but being more ignored than what it used to be. Before, the world was not accessible. We didn't
No,
have the internet. We didn't have it at our fingertips, and it was what you had to live with, right? If you were,
exactly.
yeah,
But
that's
now people are wanting to marry outside their culture. I've got a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want to, meet someone in Australia, or I want to meet, a white
Mhm.
woman," or, whatever the
Yeah,
case may be, or a different nationality. Some
yeah,
people are very specific with their nationalities,
yeah.
and I think it's great. Because
I
again,
think,
it's about the connection that people
yeah,
have, uh, the the energy, the synergy between 2 people.
yeah,
And even this comes into age as well, some people are so hooked up with, "He's gotta be older, or he's gotta be younger, or he's gotta be this, gotta be that, she's gotta be this, she's gotta be younger, she's gotta be."
yeah.
You might be surprised with what comes your way and will just strike you like lightning.
Right. And you lose out on the genuine connection because
Yeah,
you're eliminating a whole bunch of other options. Yeah.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. And some people also are not familiar with feeling good in a relationship. So they will also sabotage something that
Right.
is a good opportunity coming their way, simply
Yeah.
because they're not they're not familiar. They don't know what it feels like to be happy in a relationship. They've had so much trauma and toxicity that
Hmm.
that's what's familiar. So anything that's different to that and is pleasant can
Push it away.
push them away and "Oh,
Yeah.
she's too good to be true. She's too beautiful. She's too gentle. She's too sweet. She's just so understanding." Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, I'm not deserving of a man like of a woman like that. I'm not
Mhm.
deserving. Oh, she's got some hidden agenda.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know that?
Right.
You know, this is what happened to me this week. I went to the
Mhm.
doctor's, right? And it was so funny. And he really kind of put me in my place because,
Oh.
I'm very analytical, or I jump future pace and think, oh, this could
Mhm.
be happening. So I was feeling very tired, and it ended up being that I had low iron, right? So I had some iron infusion yesterday, but 2 days prior, when I went to see him, he said, I'm not quite sure why this is happening. We need to find out why your iron levels are so low. Well, it could be, you're losing it through your gut. Could be this, could be that, could be stress, blah, blah, blah. And he did say we had to have a stool test, right? Because you could be losing blood through
Mhm.
um, your bowels but it's not visible to the naked eye, right?
Right.
So here I am, all of a sudden, future pacing, going, oh, so if that's the case, what are we going to do? What's the plan? What's it? And I literally sent all this to him, and he said to me, Stefania, we're speculating.
Mhm.
Have to rule out what all the different things that it could be. So let's just wait on the results, and then we'll have plan B and plan C. And I
Right.
went, yes. I went, that you're right. I guess I'm overthinking things. He goes, I guess you are. He was so cool. I mean, it was just this real cool conversation because he had this big smile on his face, and I had this big, we knew exactly where we were at because I knew
Mhm.
what I was doing. So going back to what I'm saying, we can just fast forward in our minds and create so much drama
That it
in our
hasn't even
relationship.
happened
It hasn't
yet.
even happened, or we're speculating that this person could be this because he or she is so perfect, and that perfect doesn't exist in our
No, it
lives,
doesn't. Mm-mm.
right? Or it feels so good. So people think perfect, but it feels so good that that can't be possible.
It can't be possible.
So they
Yeah.
just rule it out. No,
Yeah.
cut this person
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. And that's the lesson is that we're so familiar with pain. When we don't have pain, we're like, oh, there's got to be something wrong.
Yes, yes. I'm like,
What? What? Hold up. Yeah, so we're so used to it that we become numb to, the trauma, we're sopping it up. We're just, come on, because I know what to do with it. I, yep, I know what to do with trauma. I
yeah,
know
that's
what to
it.
do with pain.
Trauma
I
and I are good friends.
Yes, we're best friends. We're best friends. And then when something nice comes along, you're like, what
Yeah,
is your agenda? Because I did that to Jeff
yeah.
for
We're
2 years.
doing we're doing it all the time. We're doing it
For
now. The
two
response of
years.
that person could be what, okay, well, takes it for what it is and fleets off, or
Mm,
someone that wants to hang around, say, no, I see this person's worth investing my time with.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
what did George say with his response? Did he say something here? Do you want to read that, Zanetta?
a lot of young immigrants are having issues dating in Western countries. Not many people who want to start a family. So now they're asking parents for help. Less arranged marriage, more matchmaking. Whoa. That's so fascinating. And I can speak on that because even though my father is American, and we lived in the US for a couple of years, but I grew up in the Philippines. So I've learned the culture of the Philippines. I've learned, um, that it's also arranged marriage. It's also, oh no, we don't want that one because, you're not making that money. You need to marry this one because, they're making this much money. So coming to the US, with this concept of choose whoever you want, you're like, what? So it becomes foreign. It's a um, guilt is what actually drives, you know, the arrangement or the matchmaking. Guilt, because of the Western thinking, Western way. The Western way is make love, not war. You know, choose who you want. It doesn't have to be, if you look at some of the marriages, one is tall, the woman is tall, the man is short, and they're happy. And you see odd couples. You see a whole bunch of odd couples, and you're like, I would have never put you and you together. And that's what you see in America. That's what you see in America. So
Yeah.
when foreigners come to America and they see the Western way, the unfamiliarity is what gets us as a foreigner, um, and guilt. Guilt
Mm,
comes in trying to please the parents. That's where the matchmaking comes in. Yeah, I do feel the pain. I do feel the dilemma. I do understand it.
mm.
Do
Yes,
understand.
but I think when you do the groundwork, going back
Mm-hmm.
to, I guess, what I'm,
Self,
getting
yeah.
self-awareness, self-growth, self-exploration, knowing who you are, knowing what you want
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship, in a person, and then moving forward from there and using the law of vibration, it will come to you.
Yeah.
It will
Yep.
come to you because it's law. It's
Yes.
universal law.
Yes. It
And
sure is.
when we do the work on ourselves, when we heal and we do the from ground zero up, then you have to move forward in life. You have to come closer to your goal. Whereas when you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything and you choose not to do anything and you choose to sit in the same spot and expect a different result, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. And here's another issue as well. Because immigrants that come here to the US, it's the same way with the Westerners. They're not used to, you know, the immigrants' culture.
Correct.
So some of them, like with me, when I joined the military and I would do certain things, and they're like, "That's just stupid." Wait,
Mm,
what? What? So I get offended. I'm like, "Oh, am I doing something wrong?" No, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just that they didn't understand or took the time to understand my culture. So
correct.
when my roommate, I started to explain to her my culture and how we did things, she then understood and she was like, "Oh, girl, I got you," you know. So she started to teach me certain things,
Mhm.
and I think it's both ways. The immigrants coming don't understand the Western culture. They only see what's put in movies,
Correct.
you
Hollywood.
know, Hollywood.
Yes.
And then also the Westerners don't understand, immigrants. All we understand, or all the Westerners understand, is what's put in movies. Yeah.
Yes,
books.
exactly. In
Yeah.
books, I was gonna say that too. And it's so simple, really. We need to
Very
learn.
simple.
We need to learn about that
Communicate.
other person's culture. Each other's
Communicate.
communicate. Exactly, communicate. It all boils down to communicate, how you communicate, and ask questions that's gonna give you information as to how
Hmm.
you're going to communicate in the
Right.
future, right?
Yep.
Now, this is exactly what I talk about when I speak to men and understanding the female energy,
Language. Hmm.
language,
Yes.
culture, whatever you wanna
Right.
call it.
Because we do have our culture.
We do,
Yeah,
we
we do
do,
have our culture. Yeah.
and it doesn't matter so when you yeah, so imagine this, you're dealing with a woman, she's
Hmm.
from a different culture, so you gotta learn 2 sorts of
Two.
yes, you have to invest in both. Don't think because you live in the West and you're gonna move over to, I don't know, Europe,
Hmm.
Italy, France, and you meet a woman and you're gonna be doing the same thing that you were doing with women in the States with your French woman. No, you need to also understand the culture and as well as that female energy in that culture
Right.
environment.
Nicole just said to communicate with curiosity and understanding. So
Yes,
true. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, it's very vital because men have their culture too, and then you have to contend with that as well. Their culture, and their male culture.
correct,
And then another culture that we need to also add in is how they were brought up in their family. Because you now have the culture of the family, the culture of their origin, and the culture of their gender. So yeah, there's a lot to contend with. There's a lot to understand, to have a conversation, and like what Nicole said, curiosity.
absolutely. And curiosity can be fun.
It is. It
It's
is
a
fun.
it brings the element of fun, like
Yeah.
childlike, 'cause kids are curious all the time. That's how they learn. So we can learn a
Yes.
lot from kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Nina said she's so late and we'll be watching the replay for all the good I missed. You're good. Yeah. So I think when we have the confidence, um, so we'll probably talk about this next week and we'll discuss it. Um, we have a way to communicate. We have this persona, this mm, way of showing we're so confident, so we can use all these words and just talk, 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 talk. But in actuality, we don't really have that confidence. You know, we can fake the funk, we can fake all of this because this is just, um, I call it, the behind the box courage. Because really, I'm here by myself. Talking to you. So I can say a whole bunch of stuff and not be bothered and not have that anxiety. So, Kazaya said, I was so afraid today, Mama. I said, why? She said, because I spoke in three large groups today in front of them. I was like, what? She said, public speaking is not as easy as I thought it was because it's easy to talk here, but when you're
Mhm,
actually face to face with people,
mhm,
she was like, I was able to. I said, well, were you able to speak? She was like, yes, I was able to do that, but I was, oh, I was saying, ah.
mhm.
So these are the things that, even with dating, it's so easy to have courage.
Mhm. To text, not even some people don't have the courage to even speak on the phone, so let's not even go talk to. Some
Right.
people just have the courage to
Yeah.
just hide a text and keep
Yeah.
texting, not jump on a call or a video call. I love them. I I
Why?
test men all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Why?
hard.
Why is that so hard? Why is it so hard? Why is it so much courage behind this, instead of going out there? Because of
Mhm.
vulnerability.
Yes, 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 yes. We need to break through those vulnerabilities. Hence why I'm creating my singles event, live singles event, and
In person.
in person, so you get to
Yeah.
meet people and speak to people and converse and mingle and talk and
Yeah.
do all that. So much fun. So
Yes.
much fun. Nina says, is she
New hair
referring
too
to me?
messy. I don't know what you're referring. Maybe you.
New hairdo, I see.
Mute. Could be you, because I don't have a new hairdo.
Thank you. Thank you. Just said it. Had more
Yeah.
of the smoother look today. So back to communication. Yes,
Mhm.
it is very, very important.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. So when you communicate, keep it simple.
mhm,
Use analogies. Use metaphors. Um, use words that a 5-year-old can understand.
mhm.
The speed dating component. I am no longer single, but used to want to go to one. Well, go ahead and tell about it. Talk about it, Stefania. Is it speed dating?
Not completely. There will be a speed dating component to it. However, it will be interactive with some activities that'll make people think and then mingle with some of the activities, games that they'll be playing, and yeah, having a few laughs. It's also to build confidence
Mm-hmm.
and to build awareness about yourself and the language we're using and
Mm-hmm.
how we're communicating with each other. So all this is
Yes.
coming into play. Yeah, this is all gonna be
Fun.
coming into play.
That's
It
fun.
will.
She said, yeah, your hair looks different or something. Yeah. So she straightened it out. That's what it is. She straightened it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so we are going to wrap it up now. It's an hour
Oh,
and a half.
yes.
An hour
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
is it an hour and a half? No, it is, isn't it? An hour and a half.
Yes.
So the takeaways today.
What's your takeaway?
Listen to Steve Jobs. I'm gonna go on YouTube and just plug
Yeah.
him into my ears and listen. Listen to his delivery. Keeping it simple that even a 5-year-old and using, you know, metaphors, analogy, painting pictures. And that's me anyway. I like to speak like that. I like to
Donato?
Ah, from Italy. How are you, Donato? You should be asleep. Way past your bedtime. Um, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So yeah, I think they were my big takeaways. I said more than one.
Awesome.
Mm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Anything you want to repeat with the takeaways too that people should know?
I'm going to, quote Nicole, because I like that. Communicate with curiosity and understanding. That is, that's key. Um, but when you do communicate, communicate to understand and not to respond.
Yes. Yes. And listening. This is for another another episode, but we could talk about the art of listening too, because there's an art to listen as well.
Oh, my, yes.
And
Yeah.
understand and be curious with questions, because
Yeah,
if you're not listening, then you can't be responding in a way that is engaging.
right. Even as a host, you have to be a good listener,
Mhm.
because you're trying to listen for certain, you know, words or phrases that the audience is, I mean, that the whole, I mean, the guest is saying. You have to, be in tune. And when a guest says something, and you're like, whoa, 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 let's tackle that, you know. So yeah, so it's, yeah, definitely an art that will, yeah, yeah. So listening is, and like what we said last, was it, yes, last week? Listen is an anagram of silent.
Yeah, we did say
Listen is
that.
an anagram of silent. Yes, definitely what's not being said. Yeah. Even the choice of words, even the choice of words that are being used. Why would you choose that word? Why would you say that? Why would you, so those are the things that, a good host or a listener, it takes time
Mm,
to, because me, as an investigator, I listen to testimonies, and when I hear something, it perks up. Oh, wait! You just said this. Tell me more
mm,
about that. Yeah, so I hear what I'm investigating. Sometimes they don't see it as an issue, but I see it. I heard an issue, and then I'll talk to them about it and get some more elaboration, and they're like, "Oh, yeah,
mhm.
yeah, you didn't know that was an issue, huh?" Yeah, that's a huge issue. I'm not saying it, to them, but I'm having them realize they can't gloss over certain things. Yeah. And that's what a good listener does.
Absolutely. It's
Hmm.
gold.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes,
it
yes.
comes to that time to say we
Until
send
next time,
yeah, we send you love.
we send you passion.
Bye for
Bye bye.
now.